Hello, everybody, and welcome to Expert Examiner IELTS. My name is Glyn, and welcome back to my second ever live stream. At the moment, I have absolutely no idea if I'm live, if this is working. So I'm hoping maybe somebody in the chat will send a message to tell me that I'm live and to tell me that my audio is okay, or maybe I need to turn my microphone up or something like this. Who knows? I'm just looking on my phone to see if I can find myself and see that I'm live. Yeah, it appears as though I am live. Great, excellent. We do have some messages from Omid, from Brian, from Assad something. Cool. Can everyone hear me okay, or do I need to turn up some microphone settings or something like this? I should also keep in mind that there is a delay. Is that a real background? No, it's not. It's a fake background. Completely fake. Yes. So, of course, as you probably know, the aim of today's live stream is to give as many speaking tests as possible. I think I might die by the end of it, but I'm hoping to get through 10 speaking tests in total. I will put a request out now for our first volunteer. So, as many of you know, I'm calling for volunteers from my Telegram chat. So I'm just going to put a message in this Telegram chat. Do I have the first volunteer? So I'm going to send this message to the Telegram chat. I will choose one person at random to come up and have the speaking tests. Please keep in mind, I can only do 10, right? I am just one person. I'll go for 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours, but I can only do 10 speaking tests in total. So if there are more than 10 of you that want the speaking test, unfortunately, there's just nothing that I can do there. So I'm going to send this message now. Do I have the first volunteer? Oh, sorry, I'm sending that to the wrong place. This is only my second ever live stream. So please do bear with me while I just try to work through the text. So I've sent that message. Do we have the first volunteer? I will just give it 20 seconds without looking at it. Then I will look back. The first name that I see, I will write to you on Telegram, and I will give you the link to come and join me on StreamYard here. Just want to check also that we can see. Oh, let's come back there. Great. Let's just have a look at some comments. Let's look at some nice comments. I love your videos, man. I've learned a lot from you, especially in writing. Cool. Happy to hear. Very, very happy to hear that. Cool. Thank you. Okay, let's have a look if we have our first volunteer. Oh, we have a few. I'm just going to pick one at random. There's one called Chris. So, Chris, I've just sent you now on Telegram. I've just sent you the link to join me up here on Telegram. Once you join, we will start our speaking test. Keep in mind, you should have headphones. You should also have a pen and a piece of paper, and of course, a stable internet connection. So we are just waiting for Chris. One thing I don't do on YouTube very much at the moment is give tips. A lot of people think that I'm here as a teacher or I'm here to give you tips. I mean, of course, there's an element of that. I want to help you. But the one thing I will say in terms of tips, one thing I do notice is that a lot of people just use a lot of memorized language. I understand, probably everyone, when they take IELTS, they think about how they're going to answer questions about, like, where are you from, or do you work, or do you study? A lot of people, probably have scripted answers there. Keep in mind, examiners, thank you, Chris, I have seen you. Keep in mind, examiners are trained to spot that, like, memorized language. And so we don't think about, whenever you use memorized language, we just take it out, we put it to one side, and we think, okay, I'll just wait for the original language and then I'll measure that. But okay, let's invite Chris up onto the stage. Hello, Chris.
My name is Alian Hussain. Alian.
Alian, nice to meet you. How are you?
Thank you. Same here. I am fine.
Cool. Are you ready for your speaking test?
Yes, I am.
Great. Okay, so everyone in the comments, please think about the candidates' answers. And also, I will encourage you when the candidate is finished to write your score. I will also give a little bit of feedback to the candidate at the end. But let's begin then. So, good afternoon. My name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
My name is Alian Hussain, but you can call me Alian
Okay,
or Ali.
thank you. Thank you, Elian. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Do you work or do you study?
Meanwhile, I am working and studying as well.
And what do you do for work?
Work. I am a gym instructor. I have my own gym.
And how long have you been doing this for?
Almost 2 years has been passed. Like I am doing as a gym extra trainer.
And what do you like most about your job?
Sorry, thori voice is breaking.
Mhm. What do you like most about your job?
To teach people how to train their body and tell them how to uh, eat food.
Okay, let's talk about your childhood now. Did you enjoy your childhood?
Yes, I enjoyed many things in my childhood. Like I like to watch cartoons and movies. Like there was a channel, Cartoon Network. I used to watch that channel.
And do you remember any of your childhood friends?
Yeah, I remember. Still, those friends are in my like contacts.
And do you still speak to these friends today?
Yes, yes. Still, I am talking to with them, and one of my friend is Samad, which is like from my childhood. We experience a lot of things in childhood, played together. So still, he is in my contact.
And what kind of things did your parents help you with in your childhood?
There is a like I don't like to go to school, so they force me to go to school and get education, and they help me out to read books and those kind of stuff. They help me a lot.
Now let's talk about news and the media. How often do you check the news?
Yeah, nowadays I'm not checking the news, but I oftenly use the social media for the like new updates, new kind of like news are coming through the social media like Facebook and YouTube. I usually prefer to go with these social media platforms for getting a new kind of information or news.
And what's more interesting for you, local, national, or international news?
Yeah, it's depend on my mood. Like sometime it is depend on the like if I am watching for the currency, so I like to go for the international channels uh, where dollar is falling and the euros are falling, and somehow I like to watch the national news because of like which circumstances are in the country we have. So most usually I am saying the national news channels.
And what was the last news story you learnt about?
Last news. Last news was about the sports. There was a sports celebration in the city of like Nawab Shah. So they were celebrating, and there was a marathon in the that news. Like one and three boys were woo that marathon. So they discussed about that marathon, and they celebrated the end.
Okay, thank you. Now, in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic, and I would like you to speak about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before that, you will have 1 minute to prepare for your talk, and you may take notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes, yes, I got you.
Mhm. I will now share the topic on my screen. Can you see the topic?
Yeah, I can see it.
Mhm. I'd like you to describe a skill you want to improve in the future. Your 1 minute of preparation time starts now.
Sir, I am ready to go.
You must wait until the end of your 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the end of your preparation time. To remind you, you will have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Yes. So I want to learn the German language skill because I want to get my masters from there. I will go there to get my masters, and nowadays I'm preparing the English language for the IELTS test. But uh, in the future, I will learn German language because it is very important when I will reach there, and it is very difficult to understand the German people and go into their social lives. One of my friend go there and he don't know about German language, and he struggle a lot, and he haven't got a job, and at the end he face a lot of trouble. He come back at in back to Pakistan, and a lot of finance crisis he faced. So in the future I will learn the German language to get the part-time jobs in Germany, and more easy in my life to get more education in the future. So it is one of the important skill for me, and in the future it will help me to get the job and a lot of stuff. I can make new friends in German culture. I can understand their culture and enjoy their lives in the abroad, how they are spending their lives in there, and how they are doing all the stuff there. So I want to do all the things, all the German skill I want to learn. And finally I will learn their culture. If I am living there, so I have to learn their culture, complexities and all the ethics. I have to go with those moral values. With the I have to learn the language. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. So, you've been talking about a skill you'd like to learn. Let's move on now and talk about skills and learning in general. Why is self improvement important?
Yeah, because of new things are coming in the a lot of things are coming, like AI has been came, and there's jobs are minimizing by the AI because the robots are came, and the taxi driver has been vanished because of the AI. Without a driver, car is running on the roads without a driver, and there is no need of laborers in the factories because of AI. So we have to learn the new skills of AI, and those things which are coming in the future. We have to admire and learn those skills.
And apart from AI skills, what are some other common skills people want to improve?
As I told you previously, speaking English is a one of these important skill to exchange the ideas, get new things, and go into new culture and learn new things, and get job and education whatever you want. So very firstly you have to know the understand the language.
Mhm. And how can employers support skill development for their workers?
Yeah, they can support by the giving them the new internships, provide them the internship, in a free of cost, and they can invest money on them, so they can learn new skills, and they can improve their employment chances, and a lot of work they can do in a well way.
And do you think it's more important for people to focus on improving their strengths or improving their weaknesses?
Yeah, it is more important to increase their strength and focus on the weaknesses, which weaknesses they have, and they have to like work on their weaknesses as well, because when they minimize their weaknesses, so the automatically their strength will be increased.
And what do you think should be given priority, strengths or the weaknesses?
According to my perception, the weaknesses very firstly focused on the weaknesses. When you minimize the weaknesses, then you can go for the strength.
Mhm. And how does motivation affect learning and self-improvement?
Yeah, there is a lot of effect of motivation when you already drained and demotivated. So it is tough to go into a new thing and learn and go with that stuff. So motivation build a confidence, and you can do whatever you want. So motivation is the most important thing as per my thinking.
Some people say that, motivation is only short term. What advice would you give to somebody who runs out of motivation?
Yeah, it is a short term thing. It is a motivation is a short term. They have to be a discipline very firstly, then they can motivate themselves. So if they have a task, if they complete their task, so automatically their confidence and the motivation will come. So very firstly they have to be a discipline to get motivation.
Okay, thank you. That is the end of the test. Um, so, firstly, congratulations, you survived the test. I'm just curious, firstly, how do you feel about your performance in this test?
I am not satisfied with my performance because I was sleeping before your like message was appear. So I was not satisfied or that much prepared. But suddenly I have an opportunity to talk with you. So it is a very great thing, and I am like grateful to you. You given me a chance to at least you can judge me how many bands I am falling.
Mhm. So, you said you're taking IELTS because you're planning to study in Germany. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, I am. I will take in between like 20 to 15 days.
Uh-huh. And what score do you need to get into university in Germany? Is it like 6.5, 7?
6.5. I am thinking for 6.5.
Uh-huh. And what score would you be happy with in total in IELTS?
6.5 is the like for me it is like good score 6.5.
Okay. Well, I wanted to ask the audience what they thought of the score. I don't see a lot of messages coming through. But I'm curious what the audience thinks, what the viewers think. For me, I think your fluency is at band 7. I think that's good news. I think your vocab is also at band 7. For me, your grammar is just a little bit lower. We get, quite common but basic mistakes. You said like my friend go to Germany before, right? And it should be past time he went to Germany. You say like he haven't got something and it should be he hasn't got. So there are like small elements of your grammar that I think, just it's not that you're some candidates they don't use enough advanced grammar. You don't have that problem. I think your biggest problem is that you have small mistakes with quite basic grammar, and for me that pulls your grammar score down to about 6. I think your pronunciation is probably enough for a 7. It's easy to understand you. I don't have to work hard. Some parts of intonation sometimes might be a little bit strange, but you're between 6 and 7. Maybe on a good day, I would give you 7 for pronunciation. That would put your score at 6.75, which pulls your score down to about 6.5. So a few people are saying 6.57 or 6.5. I have your score at 6.5. Everybody else in the chat has your score at 6.5. So I'm sure without any problem in 15 or 20 days, you should get your 6.5 for your speaking test.
Oh, thank you, sir. You literally made my day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being the first volunteer here too. Please let me know, by the way, when you take your test for real, let me know what score you get, because I'm always interested to compare the scores
Yeah,
that I give
yeah,
and the scores
I
that
must tell
candidates
you.
get.
I will
Cool.
tell you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to go to the next candidate. All the
Thank,
best, and thanks for being a
thank
volunteer.
you. God bless you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All righty then, folks. So thank you to, he put his name as Chris for the first test. We'll go and put the request for the second. Just one moment. I'm going to go back into our chat. Do we, one moment. Do we have our second volunteer? So again, I'm putting this message into the Telegram chat, and again, I will pick one person at random. Candidate, just a few more thoughts on that candidate. I liked how the candidate was quick to give answers. Sometimes people are too fast to give answers, and sometimes people are very slow where they have to think about the answers. But I think the candidate had a good, like what we call latency, the time before we ask the question and the time before the answer comes. Candidate did try to develop. There were some areas, particularly in part 3, where I think maybe he was struggling just a little bit to develop ideas a little bit more. But on the whole, a strong candidate, and right between that border of B2 and C1. Okay, so do we have our second volunteer? Let's have a look. I've just seen the name Pristy, and in my mind that comes up as someone who has requested quite a few things before. So I'm going to click on Pristy. I'm going to send that link to Pristy, and the next candidate should join us. But that's one out of the way. While we're waiting for the candidate, can I answer any questions that anyone has? And I know there is always some delay. Let's have a look through the comments. So everyone, few people said 6. Some people said 6.57. Mr. Sergey, a very familiar name. Yeah, 6.5, 6.5. All good stuff. Okay, let's have a look at this comment. Is there any link? So yes, in every single video that I make, there is a link to my Telegram channel, including a link to this live stream. There is a link to my Telegram channel. All announcements are on there. All requests for future speaking tests, future writing checks, all of that will be on the Telegram channel. You can find that link in the description of every video we have. Pristy has just joined, so I'm going to add her to the stage, but just one moment. I can see you, Pristy. I know that you are there. Just one moment. I'm just going to make sure that my screen share is ready. Hello, Pristy. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm hearing you clear here. Do you hear my voice too?
I do. It's not perfect, but I think I can hear you okay.
I think it's better if I remove my headphones. Yes, I think it's not really good. Sorry.
I think it's maybe, I don't know if it's the microphone or the headphones. You can try to change something if you like. We have a little bit of time.
Okay, how about now? Is it clear?
Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's perfect. All right. Any questions before we start our test?
No, I'm actually pretty nervous because tomorrow is my test. So yeah, I think it's a very great experience to have a test with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's always great for candidates to have an opportunity, not just to have the test, but also to speak under pressure, because so much of our practice is done in comfortable places, whether we're speaking in the mirror or with our teacher or with our friends. And we don't often have this chance to speak under pressure with 27 people watching you and judging you. So it's always nice to have that. But all right, let's jump straight into it then. So, good afternoon. My name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
Yeah, my name is Pristy Nadila Khairina Panggabean, but you can call me Pristy.
Okay, thank you, Pristy. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. What town or city do you live in?
I'm sorry, Glenn. It's actually pretty. You can hear the sounds of moss giving some, prayer call. I don't know if it will.
I can't hear anything.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
it's
repeat?
sometimes. Yeah, sometimes just to break out of the test. Sometimes microphones have these like noise reduction technology, and so background noises sometimes are filtered out. So I don't hear anything. If you're okay to continue, we can continue.
Okay. Yeah. Please. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question again?
Of course. So in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. What town or city do you live in?
So I live in Bekasi City. It's like 45 minutes from the capital city of Indonesia, Jakarta. I actually live in a very nice neighborhood. It's like a small complex. I live nearby many public transportation station. So yeah, it's pretty easy to go to the capital city and other areas. Like you can take like train or a bus or some like a metro in Indonesian style. So yeah, it's pretty convenient to live in my town.
And which parts of your town or city are particularly busy at the weekend?
I think it must be it busiest in the mall area where people usually spend their time with families, friends, and to spend their quality time to have some fun in the mall, like go to shopping and then have go to nice cafe and restaurant inside or the outside area of the mall. And also, I think it's just like a pretty cozy place to hang out with your loved ones.
And do you think you'll continue living in this place in the future?
Yeah, I think so because I'm working in the capital city, and then it's pretty affordable to live here rather than in Jakarta area where everything is quite expensive. So and then distance wise is pretty. Easy to go and go back to my place. So I think so far I still live in this city.
Let's talk about your weekends now. What do you usually do on weekends?
Well, on weekends, I usually start the morning by taking some walks. I love enjoying my morning in a very quiet and peaceful time. And then during my walk, I tend to listen to podcasts, especially for self-development themes or any fun things that I usually would like to enjoy. And then if I have some time, I'll go to meet my friends as well. We can explore like coffee places or yeah, just to have some chats.
And how are your weekends different now compared to when you were a child?
I think it's very different. Noting that I'm adult now, and then I am mostly doing things alone. I live far away from my family currently, and then well, it's very contrast because where on the weekends during my childhood, I think I usually watch movies on like cartoons or playing with my childhood friends. But now, as an adult, I think weekends are preferred to be enjoyed like in a slow and fun, but not that busy moment. Yeah.
Let's talk about movies and cinema now. How often do you watch movies?
Well, it depends. I think movies are somehow are very fun to watch, especially with your friends. I also tend to look the sin like the themes first. If it's like match with my moods or something that I really want to watch, I think I can go like twice in a month, and then yeah, after that maybe like just once in a month.
And do you have a favorite actor or actress?
Yeah, I think I love the Marvel movies, like especially the Chris Evans, the one that who play Captain America. I really liked his acting, and then how he portrays himself in his character, and then yeah. But overall, I like actors that come from the United States.
Thank you. Now, in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic, and I would like you to speak about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before that, you will have 1 minute to prepare for your talk, and you may take notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
I will now share the topic on my screen. Can you see the topic?
Yes, I can see it.
I'd like you to describe an object you own that is important to you. Your 1 minute of preparation time starts now. Okay, so that's the end of your preparation time. To remind you, you will have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Oh, yeah, thank you. So the object that I really want to describe is my mobile phone. It's very important to me because it makes my life easier. I can use literally everything with it in a grip of my hand. It's like I can chat with my friends through social medias. I can communicate with my families as well every time, whenever I want, and also I can get access to many informations. I usually use some browser informations to get everything that I really want to know, and then it also helps me to have some fun. I can watch some YouTube videos on it, and then also listen to many podcasts and music. So everything just very convenient to have in my life. So for the phone, I think it's very important to me as well because it helps me to not feel alone, especially when I commute to my work. So I keep it mostly in my pocket, but in everyday use, probably I just hold it wherever I go. So yeah, I pretty much glued to it. So mobile phones is a very important device. Not only it can helps my life, but also it elevates the quality of my life too. So in terms of making things easier, and then to have things settled in the way that I want, and also to have some entertainment in an easy way. So I think
Okay,
that's
thank you.
why. Thank you.
All right, so you've been talking about an object you own that's important to you. Let's talk about valuable objects now. Why do people value certain objects more than others?
I think it depends on the quality, and then the value itself that the object offers to certain individuals. For me, as I said before, mobile phones tends to have many significant important values that can make my life easy, and then probably it's the combinations of things that make life more. I think it's very sophisticated too. So yeah, I think I really value for the convenience, the technology, and maybe for other people's they don't like smartphones that much because they can distract their life as well. But I think for now, I really value smartphones as the most important object in my life.
And do you think in general people tend to value things that are more expensive?
Yeah, I think it depends again. Why? Because there's this saying that price, the value comes with a price. So I think the more expensive price, they also do not want. I mean, the brand or the products, they do not want to lose the customers, and then they really want to show the customers the value added or the features, the important features that they have compared to other products. So I think if they can make some really good features, but it costs with some slightly higher than the other products, I think people can still value that and go for that.
And what kind of objects do you think are likely to be passed down through generations?
Oh, I think jewelries tend to be passed down to generations. I have some leontine from my grandmother's, so it's very beautiful because through these objects you can pass down many histories, and then also many stories that you can tell to the younger generations, and then it also for the younger generation it also help them understand what happens in the past, and then they can value certain things that they may not like experience or meet in a current situation. So yeah, I think jewelry is one of the example.
And do you think there are cultural differences that might influence what people consider to be valuable?
Yeah, I think if there's all cultural aspects that included in the objects. For example, is the traditional fabrics in my culture is very valuable because it's made from like the silks that's very expensive, and then for my culture, it's part of the tradition where they they wear it as a part of their the traditions in a big events, and then also somehow it's like a status symbol for some people. That's why I think culture has important role in some objects.
And what do you think people should focus more on, material objects or memories and experiences?
I think I prefer the ones that give more or enhance more in the memory aspect, because it's unbelievably very significant if you can pass down some memories to your children, and then you can tell them what happened in the past, what comes through, and then they can also be mesmerized with the experience of you like acquiring that object through the memories. I think it holds some important values rather than material objects.
Okay, thank you. That is the end of the test. So, firstly, I'm interested in your own feedback and your own thoughts and feelings. Many people, whenever they have these speaking tests, they say that they feel nervous. It didn't seem like you were nervous. You felt like you were speaking comfortably. Talk to us a little bit about your feelings about your performance.
No, actually, I'm very nervous, to be honest.
Oh.
That's why you can hear that I'm not really that fluent, and then there's this sound. So yeah, I'm really struggling to combat that.
These disfluencies, they are quite a natural thing in most people's language, like in most people's language production. Even people like myself, experienced teachers and other native speakers or L1 users of English, we have these disfluencies. The thing that the examiner needs to take into consideration is, does this happen because you're thinking of the idea, or does it happen because you're trying to access grammar or vocabulary? To me, it felt like most of your breakdowns were connected to content rather than to language. There were one or two occasions where I thought you were just like reaching a little bit for language, but I wouldn't worry too much about the because it happens all the time. What do you think is your strongest part as a English speaker?
I think I would say the lexical resources, but I feel that in this exercise I lack a bit. So yeah, and then I do like, actually I do like my grammar. So yeah, I think I want to improve more in my fluency.
Okay, because I think your fluency is fine for the 7. I think pronunciation is your strongest point. I give you an 8 for pronunciation. There are some cases with like compound nouns, like the word self-development didn't quite come through. It's like there were too many syllables there, and it sounded a bit like self-development, like you were just swallowing some vowel sounds, but that's just a very minor issue. You have what sounds a little bit like an American accent. The way you pronounce your R's sounds very natural. Your intonation also matches features of American English quite strongly. So I don't know, maybe you grew up watching American cartoons, or maybe you had teachers that used American English, but your pronunciation really is like spot on with that. I do think your fluency is 7. One thing I would say is maybe in part 1, try to keep your answers a little bit shorter. When I asked you, where are you from? You gave such a long answer, and it's enough to say, oh, I'm from Caerphilly. It's like a small town in South Wales. It has a population of about 60,000 people. That's enough, right? The examiner has a list of questions. They have 4 to 5 minutes to get through a certain number of questions, and sometimes when candidates go on, the examiners kind of are thinking in their head, please stop so I can get to the next question. So development is always good, but in part 1 especially, keep your answers just a little bit shorter. You don't have to give so much information. The examiner will ask you more questions to dig into some of those details. I actually think grammar was your weakest point. I think, like Brian mentioned in the chat, one of your issues, you often use like the plural form of uncountable nouns, right? So some nouns we have like information, jewelry, data, great, agenda. Well, maybe agendas is different, but words like information and jewelry, we don't use them in the plural. So we don't say informations and jewelries. We can say like bits of information or pieces of information, or just a lot of different information, not with that S at the end. So you had a bit of a problem with those. I think you also said many informations, and it should be like a lot of information. I was trying to take some notes about some things. This is always the difficult part about live examining, is that you can't give feedback on specific details just because you're busy examining. I think you said it busies instead of it is busy. And for me, these are quite basic mistakes with grammar. Like busy is an adjective, so we use it is busy. It's not a verb. So for me, while your grammar, you had a nice range of sentences, fine. Your structures were okay. But for me, there was the accuracy, just a few too many mistakes with quite basic grammatical accuracy, and that's why I gave the 6 for grammar. I think your vocab, you probably have 7. You use words like mesmerized, in its natural context. It did feel a little bit at times like you were trying a little bit too much to put in lots of special vocab. You really don't need to do that in the speaking test. In most cases, examiners are turned off when it's clear that candidates are trying to like exploit or hack, or they're trying to force in different bits of vocab. I think your natural vocab is good enough that you don't need to try to add any special details. But for me, you do have enough vocab for the 7. So for me, you have 7, 6, 7, 8, which puts your score overall as as a band 7. Why are you taking IELTS, and what score do you need for it?
Yeah, I'm actually preparing for master degree. I want to shoot my chance to the U.S. Schools in finance. So that's why they requires a slightly a higher band score rather than what I acquired now. So last month I scored like 6.5 in a band score. So I really want to improve that.
Okay, yeah, 6.57. We have this thing called like tolerance, right? Where between examiners, there should be no more than 0.5 marks. So like if I give you a 7, it means you can probably expect 6.5, 7.0, or 7.5. So it's not a surprise for me if you get 6.5 or 7.5. It won't be a surprise, but I think you are good enough for the 7.
Okay, thank you so much, Glenn, for the
Thank you.
feedbacks.
Thank you so much. Feedback. Remember, feedback is uncountable. It has no plural form. But okay, thank you so much, Presti, for being our second volunteer. We will say goodbye to you now, and we will invite on the next one. All right, I'm just going to have a look at some comments and some questions because I noticed a few of them. Otterbeck, how accurate do you think you are when it comes to evaluating a candidate's performance? Very accurate, I guess. Have you had any moments where you gave a candidate a 7, but that candidate got a 6 or 8 in their real exam? Yes. Typically with Bangladeshi candidates, I tend to underscore them. I don't do that on purpose, but I've just, I always ask the candidates to give me, when they take their real test, to tell me what scores they get. And I have found that, quite a few Bangladeshi candidates, I gave them something like a 5.5 and they got a 6.5. This would be out of tolerance, right? So examiners shouldn't be more than 0.5 marks away from each other. For some reason, it happens with candidates in Bangladesh. Now, of course, if you're an examiner in Bangladesh, you should be familiar with Bangladeshi English, with the way that they speak in Bangladesh. So it's very possible that because of the insights that examiners who are working in Bangladesh have, they have more insights into that variety of English, that they might mark things differently. I've had a lot of candidates from Vietnam and Uzbekistan, and I tend to be very, very accurate with those. I think about 90% of the candidates who I've tested who've given me their real marks are exactly correct. Also, I'm an examiner for many different exams, and we all follow this same like CEFR. So yeah, it's part of my job to be accurate. So I hope I'm very accurate. But one thing I'll also say is I've also done work as a quality assurance examiner. So that's like checking to see what scores examiners give. And I do find that sometimes there are wildly different answers, wildly different assessments from examiners, which is strange, but it happens. It's human nature. One day a candidate could have a good day or a bad day, but also examiners, it's like if you watch a boxing match, one judge can score it one way, another judge can score it the other way. There is some type of subjective interpretation, which is a pity. But don't worry, because in 5 years, AI will do everything. Cylinix says 7.5 to 8 easily. Yeah, I gave 7.5. I gave 7.0 for this candidate, right? 7768. Yeah, I gave band 7.0. So not quite enough for a 7.5, but certainly not far away. Friend of the channel, Brian, says 7.5. I really wish part 2 had a bit of departure from enlisting varied functionalities. Yeah, this is one bit of feedback I wanted to give, but I didn't want it to go on too long. I felt like after about 1 minute, the candidate kind of ran out of things to say and then was reaching for new language, but I think she did continue in a pretty good way. And finally, comment from Presti. Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for the feedback as well, guys. Really appreciate it and good luck to you too. Well, thank you to you too, Presti, for being the second volunteer. There was also one other comment I wanted to highlight. These comments kind of drive me crazy. Can I be the next candidate? I try not to give favoritism. I do like to have a variety of men and women on the channel, and I do try to have a variety of people from different nationalities. But I also try to make it as fair and random as possible. So, Shock, if you'd like to be the next candidate, you have to follow the same rules as everyone else. But I'm going to go back into our chat. Do we have our third volunteer? So I'm sending that. I've sent that message in the chat now. I'll give that just a few 30 seconds or so on. I'll give that 30 seconds or so on, and then I'll pick another random one. Any more comments? Stammering may cause a low band score. Yes, it's unfortunate. I would recommend, if you have a stammer, if you have like a speech impediment, contact the exam center in advance. Let them know. They can give you more time to get through it, but it is a difficult thing. I think the rules should be changed here, but unfortunately, yeah, having a stammer can cause a lower band score. We do have, in the exams that I give, we have these things called accommodation tests, and accommodation tests are given to specialists. So not just the typical examiners, but for people who have a stammer or other speech impediments. With the exams that I do examining for, we have special accommodation examiners who kind of have specific training on how to deal with those type of candidates. As far as I know, IELTS doesn't have that, but I'm not sure 100%. Yeah, so when you do this training, you just, you just get specific advice about, well, if this happens, forget about this, or don't worry about this criteria, focus on this. So in many exams, there are specialist examiners who will train you for this. But yeah, if you have, who will score you for this, but if you have a stammer, and it's a speech impediment, contact the test center. They might be able to, I don't know, do something. Can you tell me the process how to join you here in the live stream? Yes, you have to go on Telegram, on my Telegram channel, and every time I'm looking for a candidate, I will write, do we have a volunteer? And then people will reply, and I will choose one of those people at random. But let's have a look. We should have, do we have a third volunteer? Let's just have a quick random look through. Okay, so M Mana posted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 messages. When people do this, I automatically don't give them the speaking test. I don't like this spamming. Now, M Mana, another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more messages. So that's 16 messages that this person has sent. When people send 16 messages and spam the chat like this, no, I just don't think it's fair or polite or nice. So I'm going to have a look, and I'm going to choose one person at random. Okay, I've gone with Refat. I'm going to send the link to StreamYard in Telegram now to Refat. So hopefully Refat will get this message and will join us. Yeah, Refat has just gone online on Telegram, so we should get our another candidate soon. Omid says, good to know, before my test with you, I got 7.5, but I got 6.5 from your test from Bangladesh. Yeah, it happens. I didn't do any examiner training in Bangladesh. I have done examiner training with speakers of Spanish, with a lot of stuff with Vietnamese candidates, with Slavic candidates, and with Japanese, and with people from Nepal, but not specifically with Bangladesh. So yeah, when I give you scores, I think I'm 100% accurate, but for sure there can be some differences between me and the scores that the IELTS examiners in Bangladesh might give you. But we have our next candidate. Let's bring him up onto the stage. We have Rifat. Hello, Rifat.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. When are you planning to take your IELTS test?
I think after 1 month, I will take my IELTS examination. Yeah, I've already registered it. My exam is on 25 January.
Are you doing general or academic?
Academic, actually.
And are you planning to like study in another country, or?
Yeah, I'm planning to study abroad.
In which country?
I'm planning to move UK.
Ah, which part of the UK? London or somewhere
Actually,
nicer
London.
like Wales? Yeah.
London.
Is there anything you'll miss about your homeland?
About my homeland?
Yeah, will you miss something about your home, like your
Yeah, I think
culture, your
especially the
friends?
people of my country, especially the people and the environment actually.
People in London are okay. They're quite nice.
Right.
um,
And also in London, a lot of people from Bangladesh working there and also study there.
yeah, I have some friends who are like, well, they were born in the UK, but their parents are from Bangladesh, and we
Okay.
have a lot of Bangladeshi restaurants. Like the food is just great. So yeah, I think you'll be okay.
Okay.
Anyway, shall we start our speaking test?
Yes, we can.
Cool. All right. Good afternoon. My name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
My full name is MD Rifat Sharkar. You can call me just Rifat.
Thank you. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Do you work or do you study?
I'm a student actually, and currently I'm not associated with any kind of job, any kind of work. I'm solely focusing on my study.
And what subject are you studying?
My major is accounting, though I don't like this subject. I got it accidentally.
Why did you decide to study accounting?
Actually, I mentioned previously that I got the subject accidentally. I choose a lot of subject, then I got accounting actually. But you know, my preferable subject, or I'm enthusiastic at electrical engineering.
And what would you like to do when you finish studying?
After finish studying, I will definitely look for a business. I'm interested in business. I think it's a cup of tea for mine.
Let's talk about languages now. How many languages can you speak?
Actually, to be honest, I can say that I can speak four languages: Bengali, Hindi, English, and Arabic a little bit.
And how did you learn these languages?
Actually, when I was young, for especially for Hindi, when I was young, I watched a lot of cartoon in Hindi. So there I have learned Hindi. And for English, I'm currently practicing. And for Arabic, I went to Saudi Arabia and stayed there for 3 months for visiting purpose. And there I have learned a little bit Arabic.
And what do you find easy or difficult about learning Arabic?
I think in Arabic, it's not bit a little bit hard. I think it's easy for us because we are Muslim and we are used to learn Arabic from our childhood, like reading the Quran.
And are there any other languages you'd like to learn in the future?
I think I will go for Italiano
Why?
because my little brother was working there and he's studying there. So I think in the future I will go to Italy. So that's why I think if I learn Italian language, Italiano, it will be easy for me to visit the place.
Let's talk about gifts now. Do you prefer giving or receiving gifts?
I prefer both because I think when you receive some gift, I get some motivation, especially when my father and mother gives something like a pen or book. I get motivation, and also I like to give to my younger, especially my little brother, my little sister.
What kind of gifts do you like to give them?
It depends on the occasion. If it's like a birthday or any other occasion, then I would definitely go for like an educational instrument from where they can learn something, like a storybook.
Uh-huh. And do you think expensive gifts are always better?
I don't think so because every gift has individual meaning. But I think like it's not like that. Expensive gift is better for them. I think the gift which has a suitable meaning, which has some purpose, it's definitely better.
And have you ever made a gift for someone?
Yeah, I have made a gift for my younger sister actually. In his, I think, 10th birthday, I gave him a rose, which is decorated by a lot of flower, also.
Okay, thank you. Now, in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic, and I would like you to speak about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before
Okay.
that, you will have 1 minute to prepare for your talk, and you may take notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Okay.
I will now share the topic on my screen. Can you see the topic?
Yeah, I can see.
I'd like you to describe a time when you learnt a new skill. Your 1 minute of preparation time starts now. Okay, so that's the end of your preparation time. To remind you, you will have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let
Okay.
you know when the time
Okay,
is up.
sorry for disrupting. I think now the Azan will be played, so don't get interrupted, okay?
Okay, thank you for
Okay.
letting me know. But to remind you, you'll have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk. I'll let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay. And now I'd like to talk about a skill that I have learned. So the skill is electrical engineering, like electric plumbing. I have learned it when I visited Saudi Arabia. Actually, I visited Saudi Arabia 5 months ago. There, I have stayed for 3 months. Truly speaking, my father was working there since my childhood. So, and also his passion was electronical engineering. So when I visited there, I came in his touch, and I have learned a lot of things about electrical engineering, like basic electronical stuff. And from there, I have developed an idea or developed a like mindset that I'm keen interested in this subject or in this work, because the work is a pretty enthusiastic. Like every day you have to face new challenges, new experience, new place, which give me like mentally peace. It's not like mentally peace, though the work have a hard level. You have to work a lot, you have to like physically strong you have to be. So at that term, I think the main thing is that I have to face a new challenge and a new environment. That's why I love the work. And I decided to learn skill because of my father is doing the work, and I get interested from him. And also, when I visited Saudi Arabia, I find that electrical engineering, if you do electronic work, they will pay it much better than other job. You can find a better job, a better salary, and like that. And I say that if I say that what type of electrical engineering I'm interested in, it's like basic wiring about a house, like kind of stuff like how you can manage a house of wiring, lighting, and also I have set RGB light in my bag, which I can say I'm interested because of electrical engineering. I've also done it.
Okay, thank you. All right, so you've been talking about a skill you'd like to learn. Let's talk about learning skills now. Why is it important for people to learn new skills throughout their lives?
I think it's very important for people to learn different skill, because we have to face a different kind of environment, different kind of situation. If we learn a lot of skill, we can easily manage outcome this situation.
Can you give some specific examples?
In my home, I find that my switchboard isn't working. So as I have learned how to fix it, so I can easily overcome this problem.
And do you think it's easier to learn new skills now than it was in the past?
Yeah, I think now if anybody want to learn new skill, it's pretty easy because we have ChatGPT, we have YouTube, and we have other medium from where we can learn. And also there are a lot of courses available which are not available before. So that's why I think it's for individual, it's very easy to learn new skill.
And do you think there are any skills that can't be learnt online?
Uh, I think to be for my specific, I think teaching is one of the things that you can learn from online, because first of all, if you want to learn teaching, that you need the environment, you need to understand the mindset of the student. So at that, one of my teacher, he told me that if you don't work or take class of the student individually, then you didn't understand the mindset of the student. So that's why I think teaching, I'll go for teaching.
And what do you think schools should focus more on, practical skills or academic subjects?
Definitely, I say that school will go for practical subject, because from my perspective, I have realized that when I was in my school, I have learned all the skill, all the things which are written in the book, but I couldn't relate to with my like practical life. So that's why I think, practical the subject which we learn from books and we implement in our practical life, it helps us to enrich our knowledge, and we can easily develop the ideas from the notebooks.
So, why do you think so many schools focus on academic subjects like mathematics or physics?
I think it's a rules and regulation they have to follow that the student must learn or pass through the subject. I think these days it's now changing. Now all the schools I think are focusing on practical subjects rather than academic subject. That I can say that before in my school there was not like practical subject available, but this time we have to do at least 3 practical tests every year.
But I want to come back to this academic subject question. You mentioned that there are rules and regulations. Why are there these rules and regulations? The people who make the rules, why do they want people to learn academic subjects?
I think like it's develop the knowledge of his student, and also if you like if you want to do a thing or learn a thing, we need both practical and both educational, both academic knowledge. That's why I think it's important. Both academical and practical knowledge helps us to develop or helps us to enrich our knowledge faster. That's why.
And what do you think are some skills that might be important in the future that maybe aren't so important today?
I think these days, social media managing and or other digital, like a digital platform like freelancing, logo making, and other stuff like which is related to online, which is related to artificial intelligence. So I think in the future, artificial intelligence expert will be paid much higher, and they will have a good opportunity. But these days, they are not like too much popular.
Okay, thank you. That is the end of the test.
Thank you.
All right, so congratulations.
Sorry for actually they are a little interrupted because of the sound. That's why I got stuck in part 2 actually.
Yeah, I could only hear it a little bit, so I could like it was breaking up your voice a little bit, but it was okay. Probably it was more distracting for you than it was for me. But talk to us a little bit about your feelings. How do you feel about your performance? Was it easy, difficult? Were there any parts that were more difficult than others?
I think part 2 is difficult for me actually.
Do you want to give us some details? What was difficult? Like to speak for 2 minutes, or was it that the question was tough?
The question wasn't too much tough. I think we have to speak for at least 2 minutes, like generating idea, generating the view, generating the scenario, and explain it like in 2 minutes. That's why I think it's tough.
Mm-hmm. And in general, with your preparation, do you usually find it difficult for part 2?
Yes. I think part 2 is difficult.
What do you think are some of your strengths or weaknesses as a speaker of English?
I think my strength is like to answer the question in the first part. I think in the first part or in the third part, I can easily understand the question and can answer the question like fluently. A little bit fluently, but in part 2, I got disrupted, or I don't know what's going on in my mind at that specific time. Like generating new idea is hard for me.
Yeah, I thought your generation of ideas to answer the questions immediately was good, but then I felt like when you were developing, you were relying on quite generic language, and this is why in part 3, generic language, by the way, is language we can use for all subjects, right? So it's like words like, oh yeah, it can certainly to enhance us to develop our knowledge, and then this can help us to grow in general as people. But that's those answers we can use for almost anything, right? Why should people study academic subjects? Oh, because it can help them to enhance their knowledge, and then that can help them to grow. Why should they study practical subjects? Oh, because it can enhance their knowledge and help them to grow. And I just felt like there was too much generic language to go into detail. So in part 3, I was able to keep like pulling you back and say like, why in subjects do we have these academic subjects? But still, you were only able to say it's important, but without really giving many reasons why. And I don't know if this is because like it's a lack of vocabulary, or maybe the subject is difficult for you. I don't know. But I felt like in some cases in part 3, your answers, the language was just a little bit generic. I also think you speak too quickly. I think I have this issue with many people from Bangladesh. I just feel like the speech is so fast that I can't understand everything that you say. You speak like twice as quickly as I speak, I think.
Okay, then I will definitely develop this.
And so for this, sometimes your score with pronunciation can drop because I can't understand everything that you say. And so, to get a band 7 or higher, really the examiner must be able to say, okay, I understand that person without trying. And I can't say that for you because I had to focus. I had to think like, okay, I need to switch on. I need to pay close attention because he's speaking too quickly. This can also affect your score with fluency and coherence, where if you're speaking too quickly, mostly in the criteria, we worry about people speaking too slowly. But it does say that there should be like a natural flow or a natural pace in the speech. And another reason for I'm giving a band 6 for fluency and coherence. In part 2, you had to repeat your ideas a little bit. Like you started off by talking about how your father introduced you to this. And then after 1 minute, it's like, oh, I don't know what to say. You say, oh, I got into it because my father helped me. And that also affects fluency if you have to repeat your ideas to keep going. So for me, fluency and coherence, 6, probably you have enough vocab for a 7. I didn't notice like hugely critical problems with grammar. And I thought your variety of grammatical structures was okay, so probably a 7 for the grammar. Pronunciation, just because you're speaking too quickly, 6. So for me, you get a score of 6.5, but I think your actual English level is at C1, and I think if you breathe a little bit more and relax and try to get some practice of speaking about subjects in a little bit more detail instead of just this generic language. And I think you can get that 7. So I will not be surprised if you get 7. I actually expect you to get 7 in your real test. But for me, this performance is 6.5.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I have been following you, I think, more than 3 months. And also your essay, you're analyzing your essay. In the afternoon, I'm watching your essays analyzing video. It's quite interesting and it's helpful for us, like a student from Bangladesh.
Amazing. I always think like, I can't imagine people would watch my videos, right? I understand that if you're a candidate who has the speaking test, this is really, really useful. Or if you send me a piece of writing and I check it, this is really, really useful. But I can't imagine too many people watching other people doing the test. But I just felt like there's no one else on YouTube that does this. Yeah, I know you can see speaking tests on YouTube, but you don't see like a lot of detail about why they get the scores. But...
Thank you. I will improve it in the future. Cool. That giving extra detail.
Yeah, and more specific detail, not general detail, but specific detail. Even if it's something like, oh, I don't know, sometimes in the future we will need scientists. And I think in schools, you have to have a lot of different subjects so people can understand what they like. So some people like mathematics and they will go on to become mathematicians. So just like in society, we should have a mix of general and academic things, workers, we should also have this in school. Just something like that might be a bit more precise. But thank you so much for your support, Rifat, and thank you for being a volunteer. We'll move to the next candidate, but have a wonderful day and let me know your scores when you get them.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Okay, so for me, 6.5. If you gave 7, I wouldn't be surprised. If you gave 6, I feel like the candidate is better than a 6. So for me, 6.5, maybe a 7. Let's see what some of you guys say. Me and you says 6.0, 6.5 max. For me, 6.5, 7.0 max, but okay. Friend of the channel, Brian, says ideation is at peak level. Certainly the direct answer comes to him immediately, right? He really wastes no time in getting that answer. It's just that then when he has to go that extra level deeper, it just breaks down a little bit, especially in part 3 and even in part 2, actually. Chunking and segmentation is stellar, but please remember to slow down. Absolutely. It's too much. I am amazed by this, right? Happens with a lot of candidates from South Asia. So we have like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. And I know those are different countries, but the variety of English has a lot of similarities. And I'm amazed by how quickly these people speak. It's incredible. But again, we're looking for natural pace. This isn't a race. It's not like whoever speaks the most quickly wins. We have to give the examiner a chance to pay attention to what you're saying to give you scores. Let's see. Yeah, surely this is a innovative idea to make this sort of video. Yeah, it's not just about being innovative. I was looking for that material as a teacher myself, and I just didn't find the material that I was looking for, and thought, okay, I'll do it. I have some experience of being an examiner. So why not give it a try? How can I send my writing to be checked? Shock. Shock. Again, in every single video that I've ever made, in the description, you will see how you can send me your writing or how you can request this. I can't guarantee that I will check everyone's writing, but I try to check as many people. There was one thing. Sorry. Yeah, let's go to that question. Is it answered ignorance about something can lower your score? So the question is poorly formulated, but I think the person is asking here, if you don't know much about the subject, does it affect your score? No. The makers of IELTS think that you should have, as educated people or as people ready for higher education, you should have opinions and points of view about the subjects that come up in IELTS. You're certainly not expected to be experts in any of these subjects, but I always say, well, you know, what would my older brother say if somebody asked my older brother, do you think governments, or how do you think governments should protect the environment? What would my older brother say? My older brother would say, well, I don't know. Like, how can you protect the environment? It's like pretty crazy now. Like, I know recently governments have said that we should like recycle everything. And I know even some people get fined if they don't recycle like the trash that they throw away. I think that's a little bit unfair, but I don't know. They've got to do something, I suppose. You know, that's what my older brother would say. He's not an expert on the subject. He doesn't give sophisticated answers about what governments can do to protect the environment, but he can still answer the question. Let's see. You answered my question, it on the top of Brian. Could you answer my question? I think he's saying. Iris Mauswan. Sorry for the mispronunciation. Oh, that was your question. Yes, so I hope I've answered your question there. I want to practice my speaking. Yeah, I know. There are lots of people now who want this practice. But let's go to volunteer number 3. I'm going to go back to the Telegram chat. I don't think I'm going to get through 10 people, folks. It's been 1 hour and 20 minutes. I'll go for about 3 hours in total. But do we have our next volunteer? Oh, it's all in caps. Sorry about that. So I'll keep an eye on that chat. I'll look back in about 30 seconds. Not 3, but 4. Otterbeck says. Sorry, Otterbeck, I don't know. When you say not 3, but 4, I don't know what exactly you're referring to there. So we are just waiting for the next candidate. If anyone has, of course, any other questions they want me to deal with, I'll try to answer while we're waiting. But let's have a look for our next volunteer. Okay, I'm going to go with... That name looks familiar-ish. So MH Taif. MH Taif will be our next candidate. I've just sent the link to you, MH Taif. So he's online, or she's online, and they are about to join us, I hope. So we're waiting for this next candidate. I guess I will get through maybe 6 or 7 candidates in total today. Number. Again, I don't know. I'd like to answer any questions that people have, but number, I don't know if that's a question I can answer. So still waiting for this next candidate to join. The candidate is online on Telegram. I have sent them the link, just waiting for them to join. Here we go. Why do you not make videos for other IELTS modules such as reading? Yeah, give me a break. First of all, I have a few different jobs. Also, I think what is my biggest value here? What can't people get practice with? And people can't get evaluations of their writing, and they can't get evaluations of their speaking. They have to go on ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to judge their writing, and it's not always reliable. Getting an opportunity to have a speaking test with an experienced teacher and an examiner, I think that's great for people. So that's why I do most of that stuff. There are a million other resources out there that will help you with reading. There are no, tips and tricks. I really hate this IELTS YouTube. I really, really hate it, where it's like guaranteed band 9, focus on this, get a band 9, the only reading tip you'll need, or do this for your listening to get a band 9. It all lies. People who have a C2 level of English will get band 8.59. People who have a C1 level of English will get a band 7.0, 7.5, 8.0. That's how it works. There are no techniques. There are some techniques. There are no tricks. There are no hacks. There are no secrets. And so this content of like, oh, do this to get a band 9 in reading, I might make some of this content in the future about how I approach reading and listening. Maybe we'll see. But for the moment, I focus on speaking and writing because I think that's the most value I can give someone. But anyway, Taif is here, so I will get to the other questions. After the speaking test, but let's bring Taif up onto the stage. Hello.
Hello. Hello. How are
Can
you?
you hear me okay? I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, yes, it's clear. Yeah, I'm also fine. Thank you.
Cool.
I've been following you for more than 2 months, and your video is really helpful for me. And yeah, this is really amazing. Thank you so much for making free videos for us.
Oh, you're very welcome. No problem at all. It's fun. It's fun to do it. Sometimes it's
Thank you.
difficult when people sometimes write not very nice things to me about why don't you choose
Yeah.
me, but mostly people are very, very supportive and
Oh.
very, very nice. So thank you for your comments. When are you planning to take your IELTS test?
Well, I haven't registered yet, but I'm planning to take my exam after 2 or 3 months.
And are you going to take the general IELTS or the academic IELTS?
Well, I'm for academic IELTS.
And why have you decided to take IELTS?
Well, I just completed my ATC exam, which is an intermediate exam in Bangladesh. And now I'm planning to take my graduation from abroad. So this is the main reason of why I'm taking my IELTS exam.
Okay, cool. Are you ready for your test?
Yeah, I think so. I'm ready.
All right, best of luck. Let's get into it. So, good afternoon. My name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
My full name is Muhammad Hassan Taif. You can call me Taif.
Okay, thank you, Taif. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Do you work or do you study?
Currently, I'm a student. Recently, I have completed my ATC exam, and now I am looking forward for my graduation.
And what are you planning to study in the future?
Well, my background was humanities in my intermediate level. So nowadays, I'm planning to take my uh, graduation from law, as I'm really interested in law. So therefore, I hope that I can get the subject.
And when did you first become interested in law?
Well, since my childhood, when I was child, I used to watch lots of movies related to law. There was a specific show, and it was a series, and I tried to watch this show every time. And since then, I was interested in law. So it was my childhood dream, and it didn't change.
Let's talk about clothes now. Do you like shopping for clothes?
Yeah, definitely. I love shopping. If it's clothing, if it's about clothing, I love taking chance to go to. Oh, sorry. My electricity was
Oh no.
okay. Sorry.
It's okay, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
I'll give you a moment. I'll give you a moment to
Oh,
reorganize yourself.
okay.
All right. Let me repeat the question. Let's move on to another question. How often do you
Uh,
buy new clothes?
well, I don't usually buy clothes very often. I don't want to splurge my money on clothing. I just buy clothes when it's needed for me. I'll say once or twice in a month, not very often.
And do you prefer wearing casual or formal clothes?
Well, I always prefer wearing according to the demand. If it's a formal occasion, I try to wear formally. And if I'm in home, then I prefer wearing casual clothes. For example, t-shirts or pants, something like that.
And is fashion important to you?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, definitely, because I think that fashion is something which represents yourself. If you are if you represent yourself in a good way or fashionable way, you are likely to get interested from other persons. So I think that, yeah, it's very important for people to wear fashionable clothes.
Let's move on now and talk about art. Do you enjoy visiting art galleries?
Not really. These days I have my mobile phone and my laptop, so I usually try to look for art galleries on online, but not visiting the art galleries. But I do think that visiting art gallery is really important. But I don't want to spend time on visiting art galleries.
And are you good at drawing or painting?
Well, I'm not, but I'm very interested in painting, but I'm not a good painter. But I do try to paint something, but it's not professional, or I'm just as it is one of my hobbies. So I try to uh, paint something on my notebook or my desk.
And did you have art classes at school?
No, to be honest, my background was the humanities. Sorry, my background was humanities, so I didn't have the chance to get the art subject. But in my school, I didn't have the subject.
Okay, thank you. Now, in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic, and I would like you to speak about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before that, you will have 1 minute to prepare for your talk, and you may take notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes,
I will now share the topic on my screen. Can you see the topic?
yes, I can see it here.
Mhm. I'd like you to describe a celebration or event you attended. Your 1 minute of preparation time starts now. Okay, so that's the end of your preparation time. To remind you, you will have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay. So now I'd like to talk about a celebration that I have attended, and it was a couple of months ago, and it was held in my hometown, and it was one of my uncle's wedding, and it was really special for me, and it's just not only for me, but it was also special for my family as well, because he's my youngest uncle, and my mother was especially she was very interested in it. So we went there 2 days before, and we arranged all the things related to the wedding, and it was a really fun and amazing experience for me, and especially for me, because I was one of the very important person in this wedding, because I had so much responsibilities on my shoulder, that I had to arrange some notes, and I also had to invite many guests for the wedding. And one of the thing I would like to mention is that the food collection that I had the chance to um, I had the chance to, I had the chance to uh, just sorry for okay. So I had the chance to uh, give some my choice about the food. I had the responsibility for my own to give some kind of some kind of chance to. Yeah, I messed up. I really messed
Okay,
up.
thank
Um,
you. So you've been talking about this celebration you attended. Let's talk about celebrations in general. How do celebrations bring people together?
well, celebration is really helpful for bonding communities, and for society, it is really helpful for if it's a celebration, people can get together, and they can spend time together, and they also can meet with many kind of people, and they can also share their thoughts, experience, and their emotions. So I think that by this kind of things, they can really engage with other person. So I think that is really helpful for people to attend in a celebration, with, for example, any social celebration like wedding or any festivals.
And do you think the way that we celebrate things like weddings and festivals is different today than it was in the past?
Yes, definitely, because of the improvement and development of the technologies. These days, it's really common that we can see many kind of technologies available uh, available in our society, and people try to collect those kind of technology and try to import and implement those kind of technologies in celebration. For example, uh, if it's a wedding, they try to decorate the homes with many kind of lightings, and also they invite guests on online as well, because they can see others on online by the help of mobile phone or laptop. So I think that it's really important for uh, yeah, I think that it's changed a lot over the few decades.
And do you think these changes are mostly positive or negative?
Well, I think that these are positive, and because these days people are getting benefits from technologies, and by the help of technologies, people can easily communicate with others. They can send invitation through WhatsApp or messages, and they can also hire at any management or decoration parties through online. So I think that is really helpful for us, and there are some drawbacks of technologies, because people tend to on the social media when it's festivals or it's event. But I think that the drawbacks outweigh the merits.
Let's talk a little about birthday celebrations. Why do some people not enjoy celebrating their birthday?
Uh, I think that most of the people love to celebrate their birthdays, but it depends on the individual person. It varies person to person. For example, if any person likes to spend time lonely, they might prefer not celebrating their birthday with their friends. And I think these are very few people in the world. They don't like to celebrate their birthday, but most people, I believe that they love celebrating their birthday.
And some people say that birthday celebrations become less special as we get older. What do you think?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I think as people get older, they lost the sense of um, uh, sense of happiness on their own. They also change their mind. They try to spend time on their own, and they also try to talk with people, not celebrate their birthdays. They also prefer spending monies on for their children, not spending money, just throwing away money for birthday celebration. But for young people, they love celebrating birthdays. But yeah, older people, they don't. I think they mostly don't like celebrating birthday the because of they don't like actually celebrate their birthday because they feel like it's just spending money and it's just a splurge spending.
Thank you. That is the end of the test.
Okay.
All right. So you survived. I'm sorry about your light and the different problems you have. How are you feeling? Are you
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, I'm yeah, I think I'm okay. It's really weird. I lost my electricity and also I had to change my location. I don't want to put excuse. I just messed up with
I
the
mean,
test.
it's a mock exam, so you don't need to worry too much. Hopefully, this
Yeah,
won't happen in the real test. What do you think some of your strengths or weaknesses are as an English speaker?
I think I don't actually practice a lot because I don't have enough partner for my speaking. But my I think I can understand the English language as I see lots of podcasts and many kind of videos. But I think speaking is one of my weakest point, and I have to practice a lot. I think.
So, which part of your speaking do you think is weak? Is it like your grammar, your vocab, your fluency, your
Yeah,
pronunciation?
I think my pronunciation and vocabulary is my weakest point. I have to work on those. But for grammar, I think it is quite not quite, but it's a little bit improved.
Yeah, I think, obviously you had a problem in part two where you kept
Yeah,
repeating,
part
like, I
two.
had the chance to, I had the chance to, I had the chance to, I had the chance, and you kept repeating this. What happened there? Did you just like forget what you were saying, or were you distracted? I don't know, by
Yeah,
someone in the
I
house, or
I
did you
used
lose your
to.
idea?
Okay, I used to making notes for my part two speaking, but this time I had to change my location, and immediately I went to my dining room, and there is nothing in my side, so I didn't make any note. I just gave my talk.
Mhm. Okay, that kind of explains it. So yeah, you did
Yeah,
have that critical breakdown in part two. I thought a little bit in part three. I thought you struggled with some of the questions. I mean, it was difficult to talk about celebrations, but why don't some people enjoy their birthday? You spoke a lot about, oh, well, most people like it. Cool, but we're looking for like just different reasons why some people might not like celebrating it. You mentioned some people might enjoy being alone. I think that's okay. Some people might be introverted, or maybe people don't want to remind themselves they're getting older. Those could be different reasons. Maybe some people are not
yeah,
sociable or something like this. So, some of the questions in part three, I thought you faced difficulty with. I think probably you are okay for the 7. Now, I will award 6.5 for this because of this critical breakdown in part 2. I thought in general it was really nice the way that you answered questions like in a human way. So many people come into the IELTS test and they speak IELTS English, right? You ask them like,
Yeah.
okay, tell me about your hometown, and everyone says, oh, there are breathtaking views of the picturesque scenery, and everyone uses this type of like boring, repetitive language. It felt like you were a human giving
Yeah.
human answers, and I really liked this originality. There were a couple of times where I think you tried using like splashing money, which I thought that wasn't quite right. Like we have this phrase of it to splash out on something, right, which means to spend a lot of
Yeah,
money,
yeah.
but we don't
I
use it
think
with
this is
money.
pronunciation problem. I wanted to say splurge, buddy, and I
Splarge?
said splurge.
What is
Yes,
splurge?
splurge means throwing away money.
Oh,
Something like,
splurge, maybe.
yeah, splurge. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't quite sure. Wasn't quite sure
Oh,
what you were going for there. So there were a couple of occasions where maybe some of the vocab was a bit strange. Of course,
yeah,
because of that breakdown in part 2, probably your overall score is 6.5. But I think, with a pen and paper, with a chance to prepare, I think
yeah.
you'll be close to the 7. I won't be surprised if you get 6.5. I won't be surprised if you get 7. I don't think you have enough to get like band 8 in any of the parts. So I think
No,
probably
no.
your ceiling is probably 7. For this performance, though, 6.5.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank
Do
you.
you
I
have any
didn't
questions for
expect
me?
6 point.
No, what did you
Yeah, I
expect?
didn't expect 6.5. I think I expected the 5 or 5.5 because I had lots of problems in part 2. I just stuck in speaking. For example, I had the chance. I repeated the word for sentence for. I didn't
Yeah,
expect it.
your
This
part 2
was
certainly was weak.
yeah,
But you had to relocate. You
yeah,
couldn't take notes.
yeah.
But cool. I hope you enjoyed the experience.
Okay,
Please let me know when you do
okay,
your test in a few
okay. Thank
months.
you.
Please let me know
Thank you
your
very much.
score. You're
Thank you very
welcome.
much for giving me a chance. Thank you.
You're welcome, Taif. Thank you. All right. So, let's get to some questions because I did see a few questions coming through. Thank you, Taif. You may leave. You may leave. We can't see you on the screen now, but let's have a look through some of these questions. This is the funniest question. How high is your IELTS overall band score, sir? Firstly, I don't like being called sir. It makes me feel old and sad. Glyn is my name, and you can call me Glyn. I've never taken IELTS. English is my first language, and so we don't need to take it. I know some IELTS teachers like taking it because they like to have the experience of, knowing what it's like, and will I have a clock in front of me and different things like this. Can I take my phone? Can I take water in? Some teachers like doing this. If I took IELTS, I would get a band 9. If I can't get a band 9, then I don't know who in the world can get a band 9. English is my first language. I'm also an English language major, and I'm also an English teacher, and I'm also an examiner, and I'm also an English teacher trainer, and I've worked as a director of studies and all of this stuff. So if I can't get a band 9, I don't know who in the world is getting a band 9. Probably just me and Brian. How will I be connected to free mock test? In the description of every single video I've ever made, you can find information about this. I'm kind of curious, what is the minimal age to take the IELTS test? I don't know. This is an administrative question. Sometimes people ask me questions, and when I say I don't know, they tell me, how can you not know this? I can't believe you don't know this. I don't know. I know people who are 16 or even 15 who've taken the IELTS. I will say that IELTS is aimed towards people who are ready to take higher education. So for me, it's really not suitable for people under the age of 18 to take it. Maybe if you're 17, it's okay. But really, you can't. For me, it's strange to ask these part 3 IELTS part 3 questions to someone who's 15 years old. It just, yeah. So it is aimed at people who are ready to take, university level, tertiary, higher education, not aimed at high school students. But there are certainly high school students who've taken the test and passed it, or got good scores. Let me have speaking mock test with you today as well, please. Yeah, I try to make the process as fair as possible for everybody and not give special treatment to anyone. Cool. So I want to give my exam. I know. I just can't do everyone. Could I have a speaking mock with you, please? Yeah, you might see this on the live stream and think, oh, it's just a few messages. I get hundreds of these all the time. If you join the Telegram channel, instructions on how to request a speaking test or a writing check are all given there. If you'd like to take part in today's live stream, again, in the Telegram chat, I'm calling for volunteers there. I'm really weak in reading. What should I do? I can't answer that question. I don't know why you are weak at reading. I don't know if you are weak at actually reading the text, if you're slow or too fast, or if you're trying to read too much, or maybe you're looking at the questions first instead of the passage. Maybe your problem is vocab or grammar. There are a number of different reasons why you might be weak at reading. Your first thing is to diagnose the problem and understand why you are weak at reading. I can't simply tell you what you should do. Apart from, if you ask this general question, I'm really weak in reading, what should I do? My answer will be, you should get better at reading. I can't give you an answer. I don't know what your problem with reading is. Glyn, what is the gap between 7 to 7.5? Okay, so to get 7, you need to have 7 in all 4 criteria. To get 7.5, in 90% of cases, you'll need 7 in 2 criteria and 8 in 2 criteria. If you get 8 in 3 criteria, if you get, if you get 7 in 3 criteria and 8 in 1 criterion, then you'll get 7.0. So yeah, in short, to get band 7.5 in the speaking, you must demonstrate band 8 in 2 criteria, either fluency and coherence, grammar, vocab, or pronunciation. Not easy. I can't find answer. My speed is good. Is this really the place where we're going to have this conversation about how I, in the middle of a live stream, am going to help you to improve your reading? This isn't the place for that. I'm very, very sorry. I don't have an answer to your question here. Certainly, yeah, you have to diagnose that. If you have a teacher, work with the teacher on fixing that problem. Maybe I'll ask you, Azizola. I've got a pain in my back. What should I do? I don't know. You probably need to know something about what's causing the pain, right? Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay, let's go back to the Telegram chat. Tyre, somebody's trying to call me. Interesting. Okay. Let's have a look to see our next volunteer. I'll probably do, how long have I been going for? I've been going for 1 hour and 49. Yeah, so I can definitely do 3 more, maybe even 4 more, probably 3 more. Do we have our next volunteer? So I've sent a message to the Telegram chat requesting our next volunteer. Just while we wait for that, just have a look if we have any other questions. Try to understand the paragraph. Sometimes they use synonyms. Oh, that's advice for the reading. Yeah, it's there is a whole, I could make a video on how I approach these reading tasks and how the experts say we should approach. You know, like you have three main skills in reading. We have skimming, scanning, and reading for detailed information. Different question types require different skills, and sometimes it's useful for candidates to understand, you know, what is skimming, what is scanning, what is reading for detailed information, understanding how much time we should spend with the text. But, you know, all of these techniques, there is no substitute for knowing English. People who know English well will do well at reading, and people who don't know English well will probably not do very well at the reading. Of course, more practice will help you to read more quickly, perhaps. Different levels with different like challenges of questions that can help. But ultimately, candidates who have C1 English will get a C1 score. Boss, I'm not anyone's boss. I understand English language like any language convention, but I can't speak fluently. Big problem, boss. Again, this isn't right. This live stream isn't me fixing everyone's problems, right? Oh, I can't do reading. What should I do? Okay, do this, and then you'll get a band 9. Or I have a problem speaking fluently. Well, understand what fluency is, right? All of the different things that make a person fluent. I don't know, keep a diary of how you use English, record yourself speaking English, get a teacher to help to diagnose some of these problems, and then work individually on those problems. Certainly with fluency, a lot of it is practice. A lot of it is, you know, muscle memory, like riding a bicycle, being in those situations. But also we should understand that if we have too much practice with English, and we don't have any control of the language that we use, we might continue to make, you know, these mistakes that we make might get deeper and deeper in our head as we reuse them. So always a problem mixing up fluency and accuracy. I understand English language like any English convention. I don't really know what that means. So, I mean, clearly there is some language problem there too that isn't just fluency. But yeah, fluency, like anything else, fluency can be broken down into a number of different components, and you should understand what specifically is making you disfluent and find strategies to work on that. I don't know what your problem is. I can offer no solutions. Sorry. Hey, sir. Firstly, please don't call me sir. I really don't like it. Why don't you read my comment? I want to give my speaking test. So all people have to apply for the speaking tests in exactly the same way. I think I've given information more than enough times on this. Please make one such video, how to approach different types of questions of the reading test. Go and watch a million other YouTubers who've made this video. Go and look at IELTS Liz. She's great. IELTS Liz has so much useful information on her website. There's IELTS Jackie. I might make one such video. I can't guarantee it. Probably sometime in the future I will. Let's see. Something seems to have happened. Your internet connection is weak and your video quality is very poor for me. Is it the same for you two guys? My internet connection is actually fast. It might be I know sometimes when I flick between screens, sometimes there's a problem. So I'm sorry about that. There's not much I can do. Glenn, what about more videos about how to write easily? Yeah, I like making those videos. Certainly, I will make more of those. And then how can I join? I'm not answering that question anymore. So let's have a look at who the next volunteer might be. Let's have a quick look. I've seen that name a few times. So I'm going to go to Mai Nguyen. Hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So Mai Nguyen, I'm trying to send you, or I think it's Hiep Stir. Yeah, the person who asked the last comment. I'm trying to contact you on Telegram, but I get a message saying that I can't send the link to you. probably you've blocked outside. Probably you've blocked outside contacts. So I'll have to choose somebody else, unfortunately. But if you open your Telegram, then I will select you for the next one. So let's go to someone else. Oh, we have, I think, someone from Uzbekistan, or Zubek. Oh, I'm also trying to send this to Orzubek, and also this person has blocked messages, so I can't send that message. So we'll try Shocksrux. Let's see if this works. No. So I don't know if there's a problem with my Telegram, my side, but I'm trying to contact some people to invite them on. I think I will do it this way. I'm going to... Do I want to do that? Let's try that person. Does this work? No. So I'm trying to contact a few different people here to give them the link to join me on this stream to have a speaking test. Unfortunately, it's not sending. So I'm going to send it to the main chat. A lot of people will rush and join, but I will only allow one person to come up on the stage. Just a few other questions. Where are you from? I'm from Wales in the United Kingdom. Not many people know about my glorious country of Wales. So in the main chat, I'm going to post the link, but you're welcome to click and join, but I will have time, I think, for 2 more, maybe 3 more speaking tests. I've just sent that link now to the main chat. So those people here, I'll go with you first if you see that. And if you join, I will go with you first. If not, I will choose somebody else that joins from this link. I don't know, maybe my Telegram thinks that I'm scamming people by posting this link. But Hiep is here, so I will add her to the main stage.
Actually, not her.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, actually, it is not her.
Sorry. I don't know why.
Right.
I could see like a very small screen with long hair, and I'm very, very sorry about that. But hey, everything okay?
Yeah, sure.
Is there any chance we can get you to? Yeah, awesome. Where are you from?
From Vietnam.
Vietnam. And when are you planning to take your IELTS test?
Around 1 more month. Yeah.
And are you planning to take the general or the academic IELTS?
The academic IELTS.
And why are you taking this IELTS test?
Yeah, for the entrance exam.
What for?
The entrance exam.
For what?
For university.
In Vietnam?
Yes.
So in Vietnam, you need IELTS to enter university.
Yeah, we need SAT, IELTS, ACT, many things.
Cool. And do you know what score you need?
Around 7.5.
And how are you with the other parts? Have you done any practice tests, like with the listening or the reading part?
Sorry?
What kind of scores do you usually get with the reading part or the listening part?
I have 8 with reading, 7.5 with listening. But when I took the IELTS, I have 7 listening and 6.5 at reading. Yeah, many things happen. And I always have 5.5 at speaking and writing.
I can hear immediately that some of your answers are very, very short. So like when I ask a question, you give a very short answer, and then I feel like, oh, I have to ask another question and another question. Of course, I don't want to give you too much feedback before the test, but I think that might be one thing that, you keep your answers short. It's like, why are you taking IELTS? Entrance exam. Okay, but more information, right? So, of course, we're always looking for development. It's always difficult because we don't want people to speak for too long, but at the same time, we don't want answers to be too short. But okay, let's forget about that feedback for the moment. Are you ready to start your test?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So, good afternoon. My name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
My name is Donny Hip. You can call me Hip.
Okay, thank you. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Do you work or do you study?
Well, I am a student, and currently I've been studying subjects like science and English at my school, which is really great.
And what are your plans when you finish your school?
I will looking for academic education, like university one. I want to study economical law in my country because I can have my family a lot with it.
And what are you planning to do when you finish studying?
I guess I will have a job with high salaries, with many children and my wife, and probably I'll have a happy ending of my life.
All right, let's talk about friends now. Do you have many friends?
Yeah, I used to have many friends because I always go out and play football with the others, but I have to study for the entrance exam right now, so I cannot play so hard like before.
And how often do you meet your friends now?
I think it's not quite often, around 2 times a week. I usually ask them to go to the coffee for something like a chat about my education, and the other thing like my gym scores.
And is it better for you to have a small group of close friends or to have a big group with lots of different friends?
Well, from a perspective, it is indeed that you need a big friend, a big group of friends for your job and everything else surround you. But to be honest, a close friend is enough for me, as I don't want to spend my time for all of it, for all the stuff.
Now let's talk about the weather. What kind of weather do you like the most?
Well, it is winter, as I can wear many like fashionable clothes. One of my stuff is really expensive, and I don't even wear it once in the other summer, the other weathers.
And do you have a lot of sunny weather in the summer in your country?
In my country, summer is actually the main weather. It's really scorching hot in those January and February, and I always get sweat because of that.
And has the climate in your country changed in the last few years?
There are many more modifications because of the government. They always change some regulation about facilities of like the machines, the factories, and many things change, and that affect to the weather a lot.
And what's better for you, weather that is too hot or weather that is too cold?
Well, I think I have no problems with summer. Like I can handle the hot, but I have to say that I cannot I cannot live in the winter because it's too cold, and I think I probably enjoyed by it.
Okay, thank you. Now, in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic, and I would like you to speak about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before that, you will have 1 minute to prepare for your talk, and you may take notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
I will now share the topic on my screen. Can you see the topic?
Yes.
I'd like you to describe a place you enjoy visiting. Your 1 minute of preparation time starts now. Okay, so that's the end of your preparation time. To remind you, you will have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
So let me talk about my university, my desired one. I always go there for some kind of image for that things, some kind of motivation, because actually I'm studying for it. That university is so cool when it have many like galleries, libraries, and especially the galleries have many books from many courses, and that library actually famous for many stuff. And they have a lot of lake. I always go there for some kind of fishing. That is my habit. Despite the fact that I'm not their student, I always want to enter their library. There was a time that I went to that place and went to that area and I get caught. That's really embarrassing. But then I always find my satisfaction at that place. I wish I can go there by my ability. I hope that I could pass the engine exam with the flying colors. That's my last hope.
Okay, thank you. So you've been talking about the place you enjoy visiting. Now let's move on and talk about visiting places in general. Firstly, why do people like visiting new places?
Well, I believe they want something like a breath of new air. They want to seek for the places for their habits. I think some people they really want to go to the other place, so they will get some things like their stuff, their souvenirs at that place.
And do you think people like going to different places as they get older?
Some people probably think that older people cannot go around, but I think that is a time that they have the stable financial, then they can go to those places and enjoy their life. And probably that at that time people probably travel a lot.
And does your country have a lot of visitors from other countries?
Vietnam have many attractions, and because of that, many people want to go there to see our traditions and many things like our cultural heritage. There are a lot of things, you know, and I probably really be attracted by it.
And what are some problems that can appear from too much tourism in a place?
Well, firstly, it is pollution when people like touristics, the tourists, they want to go there and enjoy their life, and they will do many stuff like eating, or they will do resort some trash, and that's pretty bad. Secondly, is our cultural identity. Sometimes I think people will erode it.
Can you explain what you mean there? What problem did you have with people eating, for example?
Like we have to use our natural resources, but of course we have something like we will it will prove our financial things like our economy, but it's really bad for them to damage our wildlife.
And finally, do you think international travel helps to build different relations between countries?
Oh, definitely yes. Some countries they want some kind of some business with our countries. They improve many things cover as globalization. They share many stuff like souvenir stuff together. But tourism, we take advantage of it a lot, and I think we improve our country someday because of that.
Okay, thank you. That is the end of the test. So first, I'm interested in your feedback. How do you feel about your performance in this test?
That was pretty bad.
I didn't hear anything, sorry.
That was pretty bad, and I missed some point. And I don't think you got some point because of my speaking, my voice, and my accent. I don't think so. I don't think you got some of my point.
Certainly in part 3, I missed, the coherence in part 3 was a bit of a problem, that I didn't quite understand fully some of your answers. Yeah, I think I was asking about the problems that too much tourism can cause, and I didn't quite get the answer there. So that's certainly one problem. I also noticed in part 2, you were speaking about a gallery, and then you were talking about a library, and then you mentioned like you got caught. You said like, oh, there was a time when I got caught in the library, which was very embarrassing, but I hope to pass my exams with flying colors. And for me, it's like, okay, you're just trying to use, I hope to pass my exam with flying colors, maybe because you learned this as a stock phrase. But I didn't see how any of this was really connected. First, you spoke about the university, then you spoke about a gallery, then you spoke about a library, then you talked about being caught in the library, and then passing your exam with flying colors. So what happened in part 2? Were you talking about the library or the gallery or the university or what?
Yeah, the university.
And what was this thing about getting caught? Like, why is it wrong to be in the library?
Just because I went to that place a lot and I want to go there, and then they caught me at that place.
But caught you doing what? You're allowed in the library, no?
Oh no, in Vietnam, that library is so famous, and a lot of people in that place, and they have to restrict.
Okay, but you should include that in part 2, right? You should say like, oh, I wasn't supposed to be there. I was breaking a rule. I broke in or something, because it was difficult for me to follow that. I think probably I think your accent is quite nice. I think it sounds quite American. I think you do have some problems with fluency. Many of your answers are either short or you have like a lot of pauses in the middle, but coherence is the big problem. And that will give you a score for 5 in fluency and coherence. Brian mentions also in the chat that there's, no, sorry, not this one. There was something, yeah, have, has. I noticed some of those mistakes too, like these very basic present simple mistakes, like I have, you have, it has. I think about the university, you say it have something. So, these are quite basic grammatical mistakes. Your vocabulary, sometimes I don't know if you are using like memorized language, like pass with flying colors, because it seemed to have come up random. But I think there is, you do have enough vocabulary, I think, to speak about these topics. So I think you probably have 6 for vocabulary and probably 6 for pronunciation, but your fluency is probably at 5, and your vocab is probably, your grammar is probably at 5. So sorry, fluency for me, fluency and coherence 5, vocabulary 6, grammar 5, pronunciation 5, 6, and that will give you that score of 5.5 in total. And that's probably what an examiner sees when that's why the examiner gives you this score of 5.5. So you shouldn't worry about your pronunciation. The things you should focus on firstly is how to activate natural vocab in its natural context. You don't need to worry about trying to use difficult grammar. You just need to focus on not making mistakes with simple grammar. And finally, I think you really could benefit from practicing English more. And now I know it sounds obvious, but sometimes with the questions, it feels like you didn't have a lot of practice speaking English. Like you give answers and then suddenly you randomly stop in like the middle of an answer, and I don't know if you're going to continue or if you've stopped speaking. And I think sometimes like having regular practice, having friends who speak English can help you with this like social cues of when you should stop speaking or when you should extend answers. I think you maybe don't have some of those social skills in English.
Sure.
But I don't know, maybe you have some questions for me.
About fluency, like, how can I improve it? It's really.
Yeah, that's the golden question, right? That's what everyone asks me. How can I improve it? I can't give an answer to how can I improve my fluency. I'm not your teacher. I don't know you very well. I don't know what causes these problems in fluency. I can only tell you like an examiner would give you that score. Now, as a language learner myself, one thing I like to do is I like to keep like a language diary, right? And I put myself in these different situations and I try to understand, when do I feel fluent? When do I not feel fluent? What conversations can I have? Like what conversations can't I have? Maybe there are some topics where I feel less fluent, or maybe there are some topics where I feel very comfortable speaking. So I sometimes keep a language diary, but this works for me. It might not work for everybody. What I will say is that fluency, the things that affect a fluency score in IELTS, or a thing that affects fluency in general with learning a language, there are a number of different points. And so that's up to you to kind of research that, to understand what fluency and coherence is, and then to diagnose the problem yourself and to find a strategy to fix it. I don't have answers. A lot of people say, how can I fix my pronunciation? How can I improve my vocabulary? How can I improve my grammar? How can I improve my fluency? And it's the sad thing, but I don't have an answer. I can't say, do this, you'll be fine. Like drink water, you'll be okay. Yeah, you have to walk that path. Studio is full, 10 out of 10. Yeah, you have to walk that path yourself, I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'm going to have to let you go because I want to do at least one more speaking test. But I hope you enjoyed the experience, and yeah, best of luck with your real test.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Okay. So we have Umit is saying that the studio is full. I know the studio is full. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. I'm going to do two more speaking tests. So I'm going to choose two people from the chat. I'm going to go with Arif and Mana. So Arif and Mana, you guys will be the last two speaking tests. I'm sorry to everyone else that doesn't have that opportunity. But let's pull up Arif first of all. Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Sorry?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's all right.
Cool. Your name's Arif, right?
Yes.
And where are you from, Arif?
I'm from Bangladesh.
Cool. I have a lot of Bangladeshi candidates on this channel. Why do you think so many Bangladeshi people watch my YouTube channel?
I think most of the Bangladeshi people like you. That's the main reason.
Is IELTS very popular in Bangladesh now?
Yeah, of course. Nowadays, most of the students they're trying to IELTS. So I think that's why they are looking from some native speaker.
Got it. All right, let's get into our test then. Okay. So, good afternoon. My name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
My full name is Muhammad Arifuddin. Please call me Arif.
Thank you, Arif. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. What town or city do you live in?
Well, currently I live in which is called Dhaka. It's a capital city of Bangladesh.
And do you like this place?
Yes, I like this place, especially there have variety of facilities such as some park and also some good restaurant. So I enjoy this city.
And has this city changed much in the last 10 or 20 years?
Yes, last few decades, this city is changes rapidly, especially some infrastructure. It was now developed very well.
And do you think you will continue living in Dhaka in the future?
Yes, of course. I have intention to live in Dhaka for my job purpose. So yeah.
Now let's move on and talk about food. What's your favorite kind of food?
Well, my favorite food is our traditional food, which is called like most I like. It's called a mashed potato. So its ingredients some potato and also different kind of masala. So I really like it.
And how often do you eat out at restaurants or cafes?
Well, I think every week I'm trying to go at least one time with my friend or family member because it's a great opportunity to meet with them.
And do you think it's better for you to eat at home or at a restaurant?
Well, I think I prefer to eat home because sometimes the restaurant food are not well hygiene maintained. So that's why most of the time I'm trying to make myself and trying to eat homemade.
And have your eating habits or preferences changed since you were a child?
Yes, when I was child, that time I'm just actually what is available in family. Those kind of food I like, but currently there have variety of options. Such as sometimes I go out and try to different kind of cuisine.
Now let's talk about the internet. How often do you use the internet?
Well, I think without my sleeping, I'm using internet most of the time because currently I'm working in this sector and also I'm using social media. So most of the time I'm connected with some other people via internet.
And do you usually access the internet on your phone or on a computer?
Well, both. Actually, I use my computer as well as my mobile phone, but most of the time I spend with my mobile phone because it's carry always. And also, like if I'm outside, that time also I'm using my smartphone easily.
And do you ever feel like you want to take a break from the internet?
Could you repeat again?
Mhm. Do you ever feel like you should take a break from using the internet?
Yes, currently I think about that because sometimes it's actually consume my valuable time when actually I'm trying to read. So if I go to like Facebook, so maybe I'm just scrolling and scrolling. So it's consume my study time. That's why I'm thinking that maybe there are 4 hours. I will not use any kind of social media or any kind of internet.
Okay, thank you. Now, in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic, and I would like you to speak about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before that, you will have 1 minute to prepare for your talk, and you may take notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
I will now share the topic on my screen. Can you see the topic?
Yes.
I'd like you to describe a time when you helped someone. Your 1 minute of preparation time starts now. Okay, so that's the end of your preparation time. To remind you, you will have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I'll let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Well, in my entire life, I'm helping so many people. But today I would like to talk about a particular person. It was 2023. I got one student. He actually suffering his ICT book. ICT means information technology. So he actually suffering some mathematical as well as some computer things which is related to his study. Then after that, he's sharing his problem with me. So I had a good knowledge about this subject. Then after that, I was thinking about that. I think I need to help those person because he's saying he was really struggling about that. Then after that, I'm just getting some question from him, and he actually shared his everything. And additionally, that time I was that time I was solving approximate 20 math as well as some also basic HTML code, and also some programming codes are included in this subject. So he was not like this background, but I have little bit about know more about it. That's why I'm helping, and also like after it was probably 1 month, and 1 month after 1 month, after 1 month he was the exam, and he took exam. Then after exam, he sharing his experience and what I actually saw, and he was saying to everything was everything is come to his exam. So then he actually saying to like me, he's really grateful to me because he exam was very good. Then after probably 20 months, sorry, after probably 20 days, he got a result, and he's saying he got a highest mark.
Okay, thank you. All right, so you've been talking about a time when you helped someone. Why do people help other people?
Well, I think it's like nature in our culture. Most of the people they're trying to help other, especially when someone are facing some difficulties. So I think that is the main reason why most of the people they help to others.
And what are the most common situations in which people help others?
Well, I think when people come to any unknown city, so if they don't know anything about the city, so maybe they will asking some stranger and maybe the direction of road or maybe getting some building. So that is the common things in my country. The people are like to help to each other.
And do you think people today are as helpful as people in the past were?
Well, if I compare to in the past and nowadays, I think nowadays most of the people they're trying to help because of like people are awarenesses from social side as well as especially the younger generation they're willing to help to others. So as a result, most of the people nowadays they try to help any unknown people.
Mhm. And do you think children should be taught to help others at school?
Could you repeat again?
Do you think children should be taught how to help other people at school?
Well, I think the children they actually learn from their teacher how to help other. So those kind of things is really common in our society, and if they learn from something about is good how to help others people, I think it will be good for their future as well as also it's also it's the other society people they also see these kids are really good.
And do you think children naturally want to help others?
Well, I think not because sometimes children they are not understanding everything, which is good, which is bad. As a result, they are not choose it is helping to other person or not.
So, how can we help children to understand this?
Well, I think if I get a chance to learn about how to help other, I think the story is the good way to them to learning how to help others people. For example, like in my country, most of the children they learn from their younger brother, and also they they're trying to gift or something like that, and the children are more influenced to help others people.
And finally, do you think the government has a responsibility to help people, for example, who don't have enough money?
Well, I think I partially agree with that because sometimes the authority they take responsibles who are actually jobless, and also they're trying to get opportunity some training and also give some financial support. It will I think motivated to their self to getting a job or also doing something a new business. So that's why I partially agree with that.
Okay, thank you. That is the end of the speaking test. Okay, how do you feel about your performance in this test?
Actually, that is my first mock test, and also I'm really nervous. And if I say about myself, I think it's very, very bad.
You'll be happy to know that everybody says this, right? After every speaking test, it doesn't matter if candidate is band 9 or band 4, everybody feels nervous and everybody feels bad after their tests. So specifically then, what do you think was bad about your speaking? Was it like part 1, part 2, or part 3, or was it the grammar, the vocab, the pronunciation, the fluency?
I think my grammatical is the main thing as well as pronunciation. Fluency, I think, is little bit good, but not enough. So that's, I think, my main problem.
Yeah, I have your scores as 6655, right? So for fluency and coherence, probably enough for a 6. I do feel like you are ready to answer all questions and you're ready to try to develop. Sometimes you overuse words like as a result. I just noticed it quite a few times in there. You overuse the word actually a lot too. I mean, it's not a big problem, but many of your questions many of your answers you start with actually or well. So it's a little bit repetitive there. In part two, I felt like I lost the main idea in part two. You were talking about somebody who you helped to pass their tests, but I really felt like, I had to really focus and concentrate to understand the main idea. And usually with candidates of like band 7 or higher, you can sit back, relax, and you just absorb the information. With your turn, I wasn't quite sure where you were going in part two, but I think in part one and part three, I think you showed enough for a 6 in fluency and coherence. Your vocab is enough for a 6 too. Your grammar, you are right, you do have a lot of grammatical mistakes with even the simplest language, like he was exam, or after this he sharing. You don't know how to use like these ing verbs correctly, like continuous versus simple. And these are very, very basic mistakes. And so when a candidate has repeated mistakes with basic grammar, usually that's enough for an examiner to say, okay, I'm not giving higher than the 5. So it doesn't matter if you use like really good grammar in other parts. If you have too many of these simple mistakes, they will limit your score to that 5. With pronunciation, I don't know, 5 or 6. Firstly, in general, it's quite easy to understand you. I think the speed of your speech is okay. Your intonation, though, is weak. So I will show you a little bit what your intonation sounds like. It just sounds a little bit like you are speaking like this, and this is what we call mechanical pronunciation. So so we don't get the so this is one thing, we need evidence of enough intonation to get that band 6. It's difficult between a band 5 and a band 6 for pronunciation, but it doesn't really matter because your grammar is at band 5 and there are no other parts of band 7. Your score for me is 5.5. The good news is that I have been wrong many times with Bangladeshi candidates. Many times I've given candidates from Bangladesh 5.5, and in the real test they got 6.5. So I could be mis-examining candidates from Bangladesh. I don't know, but for me, your score feels like 5.5. Maybe an examiner might be generous and give you a 6.0. Some people in the chat say 5.0. I think 5.5.
Okay, thank you for your valuable feedback. And I think it will boost up my next preparation. So for last question, what should I need to improve? Already you are seeing my grammatical error is so high. So I think I'll try to work for that. And is there any advice for me? So if you give, then I will really gratefully.
Yeah, the only bit of advice I would give, right? So when we talk about grammar, we have two things that we think of: range and accuracy. Range means, are you using enough variety of structures? You don't need to worry about range. You only need to worry about accuracy. I would recommend doing like elementary grammar or pre-intermediate grammar, A2 level grammar, present simple, present continuous, past simple, future going to, some different modal verbs. That's all you need, I think, is A2 pre-intermediate grammar. Don't worry about the intermediate, upper intermediate, or advanced stuff. Only do practice with the A2 stuff. I think you'll find it easy. But also, you should also keep in mind that it's not enough to know the theory of the grammar. Many people can do grammar tasks accurately, but when they speak with those mistakes. The biggest difficulty that I think you will have is unlearning the way that you speak, because I think you're a comfortable and confident speaker of English. You can say a lot. The problem will be for you to switch on that second brain that says, ooh, this is an ing verb, or ooh, I used he, she, it, so I must use this s, right? I like, you like, but he likes. So getting your brain to kind of control more of what you're saying, that will be a big challenge for you. But yeah, my advice is to go back to A2, pre-intermediate grammar, present simple, present continuous, past simple, future would be going to, some modal verbs. maybe first conditional, and then that's it. You'll be fine. Maybe.
Thank you, sir. I'm really
Glenn.
grateful to you.
You can call me
again.
Glenn, not sir, not sir, not sir. But thank you, Arif. We'll get to our last candidate. Thank you so much, and best of luck to you in your real test. All right, we're going to bring on our last candidate, and it's going to be Mana. So I am sorry for those people who are waiting. I can only do one more. I've been going for 2 hours and 40 minutes now. I will, before I pull Mana on, I will just check to see if we have any other messages. People have stopped writing. Some people said 4.5. No, he's not 4.5. He's, a little bit high. Maybe if an examiner gave 5.0, maybe that would be okay. But I think, 5.0, 5.5. I think he is lower end of B2. I hope I could join next time. Yeah, again, as I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm trying to do as many as possible. What I will say is try doing 3 hours of speaking tests back to back, and you will understand that it's not so easy. 5.0, I guess, even 4.5. No, he's higher than 4.5. 5.0, I think 5.5. But okay, we have only 7 more people watching, so I guess that means it's time to finish, but not before we invite Mana onto the stage. Hello, Mana.
Yeah, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, sir. How about you, sir?
I'm good, but please call me Glyn. I don't like it when people call me sir. I'm sorry. I know for you it's probably respect, but for me, I'm just Glyn. Where are you from, Mana?
I'm from Bangladesh. It's a division of Sylhet. I'm living in small city named Hobbyganj.
Cool. And when are you planning to take your IELTS?
It's maybe February because I have to some more time for preparing very perfectly. So that reason I will go for February.
And are you doing general IELTS or academic IELTS?
Obviously, I'm a student, so academic would be perfect for me.
Mm-hmm. And what score do you need?
It's 6.5 is better, but up to if I acquire it, it will be more better for me.
Okay. All right. Are you ready to start your test?
Yes, sir.
Please call me Glyn. I'm not sir. My father is sir. You can call him sir. All right, let's start it. Okay, so good afternoon. My name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
Yeah, my name is Moin Ahmed Manna. You can call me Manna.
Okay, thank you, Manna. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Do you work or do you study?
I completed my graduation in 2022, and now I have 2 business. That's the cable operator business, and I think it will be no longer because of my study purpose, because I want to go abroad for my higher study.
And what are you planning to study? What subject?
I completed my graduation in political science, so I think I will go for in this field for my higher study.
And where would you like to study?
I think UK will be better than another country because their education quality is very high than others. So definitely I will go for UK.
Let's talk about television now. How often do you watch television?
In this time, it's very rare because of the available for using mobile phone, and you can everything as your wish in mobile phone. So, in my perspective, it's a very rare to watching TV.
And how often do you watch TV series or TV shows online?
In the past, I am very stick to watching TV, but recently I watched in mobile phone. It's in purpose of watching movies, listening a song, and communicate with my friends. So I think the using mobile phone is better growing in this recently.
And do you have a favorite TV series?
Uh, of course, I have two favorite series. That's the Turkish series. It's a long series, um, and it's about the history of our Muslim culture that grows so perfectly, and it's glorious that shows us the valiant and the strongness of the past that we had.
Now let's move on and talk about exercising. How often do you do exercise or fitness?
Actually, I'm a fitness lover, so when I get free time, I want to go outside for walking, running, and it's sometimes when I get free time, I definitely go for swimming. It's really enjoyable for any person, I believe.
And how do you usually feel when you finish exercising?
It's really good because only a person can gain his real fitness or real health, and he can feel more uh, uh, fitness and more good and well uh, coming for any situations because of taking physical exercise.
And do you think playing team sports is a good way to stay fit and healthy?
Definitely. Uh, Sports is really good for every person who uh, the underage of uh, children or the young person or the older person, all sorts of ages needed for sports, and sports are only things that we can easily engage ourselves in a different way that gives us relaxation and feel stress free.
Okay, thank you. Now, in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic, and I would like you to speak about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before that, you will have 1 minute to prepare for your talk, and you may take notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yep.
I will now share the topic on my screen. Can you see the topic?
Yes.
I'd like you to describe a journey or trip you went on that was unforgettable. Your 1 minute of preparation time starts now. Okay, so that's the end of your preparation time. To remind you, you will have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Yeah. So it was the last year that I went in Cox's Bazar, which is the longest beach in the world. And it was a very bad experience for me, so that I have a desire that when I come there again. So recently, it's amazing for me because I had a chance go again this area, and I saw it different variation that's really fascinated for me, because I had a chance to go out there and meet some peoples, local peoples, that was really great experience for me. So the recently that I visited in that area, it's a lot of opportunities than I uh, talk it in last year. So in my perspective, that the comparison that two area two visit, I feel that it very amazing situation for me, because me and my friend go out for hiking, uh, go out for swimming, and uh, uh, experience for some local food. That was really amazing, and we felt more
Okay, thank you.
engageable. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so you've been talking about a journey that you went on. Why do people like to travel in general?
Actually, people are inquisitive. They want all time to explore something, which is definitely brings some new ideas and new experience for every people.
And what are the advantages of traveling solo, of traveling alone?
I think there are lots of advantages while you taking solely or the only one for going out, because you don't hesitate with any kinds of situations that happen to you, because you are the only person who explore something that that you have never had with your experiences. So I think that is the opportunity. And while you are going with another person, it take some responsibilities, because you can't go out freely. So I think there have lots of hinders for people if they go out with some others.
And what are the downsides or disadvantages of traveling solo?
I think the disadvantages is you can't express your experience or your feelings with others easily, because they are unknown person. So you feel only one, and that reason I think sometimes you felt very hard.
And how do you think traveling or taking trips might change in the future?
Definitely, because we are living in technological era. So in that perspective, uh, if you want to go out for another country, definitely it would be easy for everyone. And yeah, I think there have many chance will have many chance uh, to go out for example, if we think the air ticket, that booking uh, for many obstacles reason. So in future, I think if you want to booking in a slot air ticket, you will find day to day. So and there will be explored a lot of and emerged lots of planes, and that would be the greatest speed. So I think the scheduling will be cancelled.
And what problems can appear from too much tourism?
Obviously, there are some hinders or some obstacles or some bad sides, because if we think the accommodation problem that we faces in our country a lot, for the reason of developing country, so I think it is sometimes for accommodation problem would be arise.
Okay, thank you. That is the end of the test. Okay, so congratulations, you survived. Again, firstly, I'm interested in your feedback. How do you feel about your performance in this test?
I think I had some mistakes, so I feel moderate.
Do you mean like grammar mistakes or vocab mistakes or what?
Maybe grammar.
So, and which parts did you find particularly easy or difficult? Like usually, of course, part 1 is the easiest, and then part 2 is middle, and part 3 is the most difficult. But some candidates don't feel like that. How do you feel about the different parts in the test?
Actually, I think the gather idea in part 2 is really quite hard for every candidate. So do you have any suggestion that we can overcome in the part 2 so easily, and we can brainstorming or idea generation
Oh, you don't
quite
have time to
easily?
brainstorm. For writing part 2, absolutely brainstorm, I recommend. For
Sorry,
speaking part 2, I
idea
definitely
generation.
don't recommend brainstorming. For speaking part 2, I think you have to go with the simplest and easiest idea. Always think about, like I always think, like, what would my dad speak about? Because my dad is a very, very simple person. And so I don't want to think about anything sophisticated or difficult, right? In your task, you had to speak about, let's see, what was it? A journey or trip you went on that was unforgettable. Now, there are some people who want to talk about like some amazing cultural, spiritual experience they had. My dad wouldn't choose that. My dad would talk about like a trip to a football match, because it's very comfortable for my dad to speak about that. And so that's the advice that I would give, is try to pick something that is simple and easy to talk about, not something that will take you down, because if you're talking about things about like spiritual or cultural things, very often we just don't have the vocab to describe that. But if you, like my dad will say, all right, so 2 years ago, I went to watch a football match. It was Wales versus England, and it was in the big stadium in Cardiff. Like, I don't usually watch football matches because it's difficult to buy tickets, but my son gave me a ticket to this match, so I went with my son. Of course, what did we do there? We watched football, obviously, but we also ate some food and we had some drink. Now, it was memorable because Wales won the football match, right? So these ideas are very, very simple. They're easy to follow. The language is easy. We definitely don't want to complicate our language. One of the biggest mistakes that most candidates make in IELTS is that they're always looking for difficult vocab or difficult grammar to try to impress the examiner. The thing that impresses the examiner is natural, easy to understand speech. The things that make it difficult for the examiner is when we have to like sit closer, or we have to think like, what is he saying? Where did he go? When was that? So of course, idea generation is a difficult thing. How you spend your 1 minute is really, really important, and you should have some strategy for that. But the main bit of advice I will give is just try to keep things as simple as possible. Don't choose topics that are outside your comfort zone for part 2.
So
I think. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I have a confusion that when I came across a YouTube channel named E2 Practice, they suggest that if you combine with three tense, that present, past, and future with your in your part two or cue card, that would be the easy thing, and you survived very well. So, how about your opinion in this?
I don't like that advice. I feel like it's overly formulaic. Also, it doesn't work for all part twos. There are some part twos where you can mix present, past, and future. And even in part one and part three, you can mix present, past, and future, right? People say, what's your favorite TV show? You say, okay, well, when I was younger, I liked cartoons. Nowadays, I prefer sci-fi shows. But I think in the future, I will probably da 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 da. I think sometimes if candidates have a problem with grammatical range, sometimes this can make their range wider, but you can't answer every question like that because the examiner will see that you are using a template, you are using a formula, and it will become repetitive and it will become too obvious. So I don't want to say that it's terrible advice. I don't think it's good advice for part two. I think it can be okay advice for developing in part one or part three, maybe. It's not
And
advice.
for that reason, I took it with this model with this.
But you can't, right? Because it's describe a journey or trip you went on in the past. You should say where you went in the past, who you went with in the past, what you did there in the past, and why it was so memorable. This is a very past focus task two. Some task two are past focused, some are present focused, some are future focused. With the present focused ones, sometimes you can move to the past and the future. But for me, this one is a purely past focused task two, and so it's strange if you're talking about the present and the future here. In fact, it takes you off topic. So with some IELTS task twos, you can do it, but I wouldn't recommend this as a strategy. If you're thinking, okay, in part two, I'm going to use present, past, and future, that's the wrong strategy. Your strategy should only be, I'm going to talk about this journey or trip that I went on, right? That should be the focus.
And
should
for
always
that reason, I think I fall into some hesitation or something like that in part two.
I'm not very familiar with E2. I watch some IELTS YouTube, and to be
But
honest, I think most of it is trash.
they have lots of subscription, and people easily go through this channel, only show their subscription and misguided with this channel. I'm shamed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, do they sell courses or something like this? Probably. I don't know for sure, but probably a lot of people do the same. They have a YouTube channel, they invest money, they buy the subscribers, they get like 2 million subscribers, but then like 3,000 views on their channel, but they are just there to sell courses and make money, right? That's at least to me seems that that's what they're doing. And so this is why when you search for IELTS on YouTube, you get like, do this to get a guaranteed band 9, or the secret IELTS, or the secret examiner tricks that nobody tells you, because those things get views. People click. That's what people want. People want easy, fast. But that's not.
It's a very general situation in our country, like Bangladesh.
It's general, not just in IELTS, but it's general all over the world. People want easy, quick fixes. IELTS is not a perfect exam. It's not 100% perfect, but it is an English exam, and there's no special trick or technique or some special thing that we can do to get a band 9. I think less than 1% of people get a band 9, but still, 90% of YouTube content is how to get a band 9, how to get a band 9. And it's just nonsense. Yeah, for me, your score, I think maybe you have enough for the 6. The biggest problem I find is your fluency and coherence. I think you are okay getting the information, but you have to rely on slow speech to do it. So sometimes it feels like you are building your language block by block. And so this type of speech where it's actually written in the descriptors that the candidate can speak at length, but they have to rely on repetition or slow speech. And I feel like in order to extend your answers, you have to use the slow speech. So that might pull you down to a 5. I think grammatically, you do have some basic mistakes, but maybe enough for a 6. I think vocab, maybe 6. You might have enough for a 7 for vocab, probably closer to the 6, maybe a 7. And then for pronunciation, again, because you are staccato, this also affects the way that you link your pronunciation together. So you get a maximum of 6 for pronunciation. Probably the score is 5.5. I will not be surprised if an examiner gives 6.0 for this, maybe even 6.5. Like I mentioned, I get Bangladeshi candidates wrong very often. People come to me from Bangladesh. Usually I give them a score of 5.5, and in the real exam, they get like 6.5. I can't explain exactly why that happens. So if I give you a score of 5.5, keep in mind, you might have enough for a 6.5 in the real test. Yeah, but I don't know. Do you have any final comments or any final questions for me?
Yeah, I have a final comment that we are misguided in very variation in the YouTube channels, and we are engaged ourselves when we see the lots of subscription in this channel, and people commented as I think people should avoid these situations and or these craziness. So it would be better for every students.
Well, I think people should make their own decision. Keep in mind, I'm
Yeah,
also a guy on YouTube, right? So of course, I'm going to say like, oh, I am the best and all of these other channels are terrible. Keep that in mind. I am also a YouTuber. People should make the decisions for themselves. I will say that, if you want to do something correctly, usually the fastest and easiest way is usually not the best way as a general principle. Some IELTS YouTube content is good. Some of it is bad. Some of it is in the middle. Of course, we should always be careful with information we get online. I don't want to say that everyone I'll address everyone. I don't want to say that all IELTS YouTubers are bad. But yeah, a lot of the stuff, I don't like a lot of the stuff. For those of you who are still waiting, I do apologize. I've been going for 3 hours and 10 minutes now. I really need to use the bathroom and have a cup of tea. I hope to do this again sometime. From the 6th of January, the regular speaking tests and writing checks will continue. So I will post more in my Telegram channel about this. Hopefully we can do another live stream, hopefully in the next month or so. But I'll have to watch it back and check my connection. A few people said that the connection wasn't great, so I'll have a look at that. I'm just having a look to see if we have any more comments before I leave. Let's have a look. If someone understands you and you understand them, I think that is enough. Then why do we need to speak more complex vocabs? Nobody asks you to speak more complex vocabs. Your vocab should be relevant to the questions that you're asked. Certainly when we're assessing people according to the CEFR, which is the gold standard of how we measure different levels in English, that's what they set out, right? That's what it means to know a vocab, to know a language with vocab at C2, C1, B2, B1. The criteria isn't perfect. In general, in your life, no, language is an instrument, and you should, if you want to buy a banana, the language that you use that helps you to buy the banana, that's successful. Doesn't matter if you make grammatical mistakes, vocab mistakes, even if you're just pointing, fine. but IELTS tests are designed to try to understand, who is C2, who is C1, who is B2, and so they have different levels according to the CEFR. That's not the IELTS people that make that up. That comes from, directly from that CEFR. Any other comments? A lot of thank yous. So, oh, look at that. Love expert examiner. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alfonso. I know you've been waiting and I am sorry. We also have, thank you, Glyn from Sergey. Oh, thank you very much, Sergey. And finally, Atakhan of 7 says, you're my teacher. Am I? I don't recognize you. But cool. All right. I think I will leave it there because I'm getting pretty tired. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Have a wonderful Saturday, a wonderful Sunday. Enjoy your New Year celebrations, and I will be back with more videos very, very soon. But for now, I will leave it there. Oh, can you do one more, please? No, I can't, unfortunately. I just don't. I've been going for 3 hours and 10 minutes. I need a break. I'm very sorry, but hopefully better luck next time. I'll leave it there. Thank you. Sorry, and see you all again soon. Bye-bye.